What is boat draft and how does it impact launching depth? Imagine trying to step into a pool where the water is just a little too shallow. You might find yourself stuck or risking a splash. That's similar to what happens when you launch a boat without knowing its draft. Boat draft is the measurement from the waterline down to the lowest point of your boat that's submerged underwater. Think of it as how deep your boat sinks into the water when it's floating. This includes parts like the keel on a sailboat, the propeller on an outboard motor, or the rudder on an inboard engine. Knowing your boat's draft is key because it tells you the minimum water depth needed to keep your boat from touching the bottom. If you try to launch or navigate in shallower water than your boat's draft, you risk running aground or damaging parts like the propeller, rudder, or hull. When you're planning to launch your boat, remember that the draft measurement is usually taken when the boat is unloaded. Once you add people, fuel, gear, or coolers, the boat sinks a little lower, increasing the draft. That's why seasoned boaters add an extra foot or two to the manufacturer's listed draft for safety. Different boats have different draft needs. Flat-bottom boats, skiffs, and boats with jet propulsion often have very shallow drafts, sometimes as little as 3 to 5 inches. These are perfect for very shallow waters. Standard bay boats usually need around 10 inches of water. Larger boats like cruisers or runabouts often requiring 2.5 to 4 feet of water to float comfortably. Hull shape also matters. V-shaped hulls sit deeper in the water than flat-bottom boats. To measure your boat's draft, check the owner's manual or look for draft marks painted on the hull at the bow, stern, or midship. These marks show the waterline level, and reading where the water touches gives you the draft. If your boat has different measurements at the bow and stern, averaging the two gives a good idea of your overall draft. When launching, think about water conditions too. Saltwater is denser than freshwater, so your boat will sit slightly higher in saltwater. Rocks, debris, or uneven seafloor can also affect how much clearance you need. Load weight impacts draft as well. An empty boat sits higher in the water than a fully loaded one. That's why it's smart to plan for a little extra depth beyond your boat's listed draft, especially if you're loading up at the ramp. Knowing your boat's draft helps you choose safe launching spots and avoid costly mishaps. Always consider water density, load, and underwater obstacles when planning your launch. By understanding and measuring your boat's draft, you make every trip smoother and safer.